Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing the use of blocks and bolsters in your adaptive yoga program. We have two different types of blocks. Kenny is wonderfully modeling the foam block for you. We also have cork blocks, which are a little bit heavier and firmer, and we have our bolster, which is kind of like a pillow but a lot firmer. So today's video is going to discuss how we can use these and implement them in your adaptive yoga practice. So one of the benefits of the cork yoga blocks, besides them being a little bit heavier, is they provide a bit better stability on a yoga mat. You can use them to lean against to help provide stability. If you have limited access to your abdominal wall, this will help with that. It'll also extend your arms, so that way you can practice some shoulder press techniques by putting your hands on the block and just lifting yourself up. It'll help strengthen your shoulders and your upper back, as well as the stability that I mentioned before. The way that Kenny has them right now is they're tucked in tightly against his sides, providing that extra stability. An extra one behind you could be beneficial as well, because then it'll create like a little kind of wall for you to like balance on and keep your body from moving too much from side to side. Kenny, if you want to demonstrate the extension of the arms benefits. So just put your hands on the block.
Let's
Yep.
see if this would be better. Extension of the arms.
Yep.
Okay.
Just take a deep breath in. Exhale, push down through the hands. There you go.
I'm like
Adjust them wherever you need them.
Okay.
And it gives Kenny just a little bit of extra room.
Am I going up that high?
Yeah.
Off the ground?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Extending the arms completely. Good. And that will help build the upper body strength, especially since a lot of your range of motion is coming this way if you're in a chair. It's coming back and forth. This will help press down and strengthen all three heads of the delt. So the reason why we would suggest using both the cork and the foam blocks is because while you're using the cork blocks to provide stability, you can use the foam blocks as a way to stretch the upper body without losing the stability of those cork blocks. Just by bringing the block in front of you and placing your hand on top, it gives you that little bit of extra range of motion. If you're not able to bring your hands down to the ground, you can bring your hands to the top of the block, and you can do it in a variety of settings. You can do it on its tallest stance, like Kenny's doing right now. You can flip it onto its medium height, make it a little bit of a deeper stretch, and if you really want to go for it, you can bring it all the way down to the flat side and really stretch out there. But of course, this is all based on what your range of motion is, what makes you the most comfortable, as well as which is going to be most beneficial for you. These are just some of the ways that we can use these tools to help deepen our adaptive yoga program.
Sounds good.
Yeah. As you can see, we're still using the cork blocks for stability while we're out of the chair. The other benefit of using the foam blocks is it'll help deepen stretches that you're really going to want to focus on, especially if you're in a chair. The constant motion of moving the arms this way keeps you more in a rounded position for your spine and your upper back. Bringing the blocks behind you, using them as a way to stabilize yourself, and as well, again, that extension of the arms a little bit. You're getting a couple more inches than you normally would. By pressing the chest forward and letting the head hang back, what you're doing is you're stretching all three parts of your pectoral muscles, which, again, if you're here most of the day, this exercise is really good for helping relieve upper back pain, relieving any chest tightness that you might be feeling. It's also a good way to practice opening up the chest and allowing for that deeper stretch. There's some other added benefits that we can use these blocks for. For instance, if you're working on stuff on your back, you can use the block and place it underneath your head. I would suggest using the foam blocks for this. The cork blocks are a little bit hard. But this will help.
It's a lot more comfortable too.
Yeah, this will help with your comfort levels, as well as you can use it for providing stability while you're laying on your back. But there's also some good stretches that we could do here. If you have somebody to help, what we're gonna do is Kenny, you're gonna lift yourself up just a little bit, if you can.
How?
Yeah, you wanna come.
Like my body?
Your body, yeah, as much as you can. All right, I'm gonna provide the support. I'm moving the yoga block closer to his neck and placing another one back behind him. You can put your head down now. What we're doing here is we're taking up the space between his lower back and the ground, providing a more inline position for his neck and his spine. It's not gonna be perfect here, but this will help alleviate some of the pressure on the neck and the shoulders. You're probably feeling a little bit of a stretch here in the front delt.
Yeah.
Another pose that we'll demonstrate in just a second. You're gonna place the block underneath the shoulders or have somebody do it for you in between the shoulder blades to open the chest in a laying down position.
This is a really good neck stretch too also.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where are you feeling it right now?
Around like the top of the shoulders, like my traps, my pecs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just something as simple as adding a yoga block underneath the head is enough to provide a little bit of a stretch in the neck, which again, in this range of motion here, you can, you're gonna wanna counteract that by stretching the back and upper back in the opposite direction. Another good stretch that I was just remarking on is a supine chest stretch. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna line this yoga block up underneath Kenny's back in between his shoulder blades. So when he comes down, the block will force his chest open as opposed to doing it passively. So go ahead, lower yourself down. I got you. I'm gonna put it right there in between the shoulder blades. I'm gonna add the other yoga block so you can put your head back. And you'll notice his chest is stretched, his arms are elevated, which is providing that stretch across the chest. If you put the yoga block on a higher setting, such as this setting here, it's going to extend the arms down lower. It's gonna open the chest more and you're gonna feel more of a stretch in between the delts and the pectoralis major, which is the biggest group of muscles in your chest. Why don't you tell me what you're feeling right
Feels
now?
great, honestly. This is probably one of I thought the neck stretch was the best stretch, but so far this is. I feel it, so I use my shoulders a lot. I use my upper body a lot, and this is just allowing me to feel relief in my pecs, without doing anything. I'm just sitting here and allowing gravity to do the stretch. So.
Exactly. And it's a really great passive stretch because of that.
Yeah.
And this is a really great thing to implement into a restorative yoga practice, right? So you're not doing anything, you're just laying there, you're laying on some blocks. Again, the benefits are stretching the shoulders, stretching the chest, stretching the shoulders, taking some of that pressure off, and not actually having to do anything as opposed to just lay on the block itself.
Can you talk about how long you want to do certain poses like this? Because some people might be concerned about pressure and things like that. What's the proper timeline of an effective stretch?
So an effective stretch is anywhere between 15 to 45 seconds. It all depends on what your ability is. I would suggest starting off with 15 seconds. I know it's a little bit of a pain getting into this if you don't have somebody to assist you. However, if you do have somebody to assist you, I'd start off with 15 seconds. But it's again based on what's comfortable for you. So if 30 seconds is good, do 30 seconds. If 45 seconds is good for you, stay with that. The longer that you stretch and open those muscles, the more susceptible you can be. Like let's say you stay in this pose for 5 minutes, right? And then you try to do an exercise, your muscles are gonna be stretched out to the point where it could do damage if you're not careful. So it's best to keep them, the duration shorter. I use it by measuring my breath. So when I'll do this, I'll breathe in for a count of 4, pause at the top, and then breathe out for a count of 5. There are some yoga practices where you'll hold poses for anywhere between 10 to 30 breaths. But the most I try to do is 5 to 7 breaths for long poses like this. So the other thing we can use this for is to help stretch the lower body. This advice is for those of you who are caregivers or going to be assisting in this, because this is going to be a mainly assisted program. A lot of this stuff might be hard for people to do on their own. So if you are a caregiver, what we're going to do is we're going to take the block, we're going to gently place it underneath between the ankle, so you're going to want it on this length, and the bottom of the calf, which is going to provide a little bit of a deeper stretch because you're elevating the legs, but we're not doing so drastically. Now you can, if the person you're working with, if it feels right for them, Kenny, if you will allow me, I can put it on the medium height, which is going to raise the legs more, which is going to stretch the legs more.
Yep.
And as simple as just taking the leg, lifting, and then placing it right in between the heel and the bottom of the leg. You don't want to keep it on the heel because you don't want to flex the foot this way. But again, this will help passively stretch the hamstrings. It's also going to help passively reverse the blood flow to help with any edema or swelling that you might experience. It's also a really good way to just kind of relax and lay down. Who doesn't like to kick their feet up?
Yeah.
And again, you're going to stay in this pose for anywhere between 15 to 45 seconds, whatever is comfortable for you. I think Kenny's falling asleep on this.
This one's good too. Like you said too, for a lot of people that have problems with swelling in the feet, because that's a big thing, because you always have your feet hanging. Sometimes I put my feet up like on the couch, stuff like that. So like this is a good alternative, especially if you're already laying down on the back. So.
Good, yeah. And again, this restorative program you can do right before bed. So you can get your passive stretching in, get your feet elevated, and then if you fall asleep, you fall asleep. Just make sure you kick the blocks out, or have somebody move the blocks out for you before then.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are running out of ideas of things to do. I know a mom specifically, her son is quadriplegic, and she's like constantly trying to keep him engaged in like physical activities. So learning things like this and giving people ideas it helps them, broaden the routines and what they're doing. So
yeah, and I mean that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for variety, something different, something to get you in a different mindset, and that's exactly what yoga is. Yoga is literally quieting the mind. That's it. And if propping your feet up or putting your head on the block is one of those things that can help you quiet your mind, I say give it a shot. So another tool that we use in yoga is the bolster. While this looks like a big pillow, it's firmer than a pillow is. It's usually encased in fabric. There's several different types. There's the long bolsters like this. There's small rounded bolsters. We primarily use these because they're more versatile. And we're going to use this to have a more relaxing chest stretch where there's going to be less worry about pressure points on this because it is a softer material, and you'll notice that it does have some give. But I'm also going to use the cork yoga blocks for stability. So once Kenny is down, since this is going to be more aligned with his spine for the length of his spine, we have less worry about having to be in that shorter range of 15 to 45 seconds for the stretch. So this one he can actually lay on the bolster for a lot longer. But I'm going to provide stability for him to do so with these cork yoga blocks. So whenever you're ready, work your way down. There you go.
Center.
Yep, I got you. I'm going to take these blocks. I'm going to stick them right here on either side. So bring your arms out to a T. There you go. Because that's going to help provide stability too. And we're just going to put the cork blocks right there on the sides.
Okay.
Good? You want me to put them on the shorter side?
No, they're okay.
All right. And again, so now you can lay in this position longer because now more of the spine is supported, as well as the head and the neck. It's a lot softer, so you're not going to have to worry as much about pressure points as you would with the harder or the foam blocks. So if you decide that you want to finish your yoga practice by laying on this bolster, you can stay here for a good 5 or 10 minutes if it's comfortable for you. Just don't fall asleep on us, all right?
Yeah. Yes, I can tell right away the difference between this and the blocks is the more support, like the area it's covering. One, the comfort. For me, the blocks provide a more like deep tissue type feel, so you can feel it like where it's giving you a stretch. The direct location where it's stretching out. As far when this one is just more of an area of coverage that's being stretched out. So.
And this one is an even more passive stretch than the block stretch, right?
Yeah.
So both of them are utilizing gravity by bringing the arms out to open the chest. But this one is a little bit more gentler. So the reason that we use the bolsters is so you can stay in this stretch position a little bit longer because it slowly and gradually opens up the chest. Mm-hmm. Plus it's really comfortable to just lay on them, So. But you want to make sure for the caregivers, you got some sort of a block on the side, just provide a little bit of extra stability and a little bit of peace of mind. Perfect. Just like putting the yoga blocks underneath the feet, you can do the same thing with the bolster. Again, this is going to provide a softer place to put the legs, so you can stay in this pose a little bit longer, and it's simply going to elevate the legs like we did before. All right? So again, the caregiver is going to handle this for you unless you can manage this on your own. And with this, you can stay in this pose a little bit longer. There's less pressure from, say, the cork blocks or from the foam blocks. You can, if you would like, and the person wants it, you can use the cork blocks to provide stability around the waist. Or if you have a habit of the legs rolling, you can use them down closer to the ankles to keep the legs from rolling off the bolster, depending on what type you have. And again, there's the passive stretch of the hamstring, which is allowed, but just by elevating the feet, and the added benefit of any edema or swelling that you might have.
Perfect. Excellent.
Another nice thing about the bolster is we can use this to passively stretch the hip flexor muscles. Now this, before we do this, depending on where your injury is, you want to make sure with your doctor that practicing this is going to be okay. You're going to take the bolster, you're going to place it right behind you, across the mat, so that way the ends are touching either side of the mat. Mm-hmm. And you're going to work your way down, just gently coming.
So for me, quick question.
Yeah.
Would it be, do you think I should kind of sit on the edge of it to kind of get my butt on it to get my hips to actually flex, or do you think I'll get a good stretch from here?
No, because you're gonna get a good stretch from here.
Okay.
If you elevate the hips, you're not gonna get as much of a stretch.
Okay, got it.
So you can work your way down if you'd like, or if you have your assistant help you, you're gonna aim for bringing the tops of the shoulders down to the mat. You can bring your hands up overhead, if that works for you. Bring them off to the side, you can place them on your heart, whatever's most comfortable for you. But you'll notice that this is providing a passive back bend, which is lengthening the hip flexors, it's lengthening the abdominal wall, which is both...
They're getting a good stretch too.
Yeah, very good stretches, especially having sitting in the chair all day. If you're hunched over, it seems counterintuitive, but you still want to stretch these muscles because they can become shortened, and that's when you can come into other complications from the prolonged sitting in the chair.
Yeah, it's great.
We should zoom in on his face.
Yeah, no, it's a good stretch.
Yeah.
So when I first laid down, I could feel the muscles like spasming, just from the being short, like tightened for so long. But as we sat here, just when you finished talking, they stopped. So that made me, realized that I was at the end of my stretch. So I felt from the beginning, from when I laid down to when you stopped talking, I got actually full thorough stretch from doing this. So
Good.
it works.
And the beautiful thing about it is you're not doing anything. You're just laying on a bolster.
And it's not hard to where it's putting pressure in your lower back, and it's not causing any damage to my spine. So I can barely feel the bolster in my back. So it's giving me a stretch, and it's not irritating my skin or my spine. So.
All right, so one of the other added benefits of getting out of the chair is there's a range of exercises that we can do to strengthen the upper back outside of what you're normally used to while being in the chair. One of my favorite poses is called Sphinx pose. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get up on the forearms and bring the elbows directly underneath the shoulders, right? You're gonna push your chest forward through your arms. And while you're doing that, you're gonna try to pull your hands away from each other. Press them away using your shoulder blades. Good. And you're just gonna hold that for a couple of breaths. One more breath. Stay for the inhale. And then exhale, relax. You can come down a little bit. And what we're doing here is by pressing out with the hands. If you're laying on a mat, it's like you're actively trying to rip the mat in half down by using the pressure in your hands. Mm-hmm. You're strengthening the muscles up here in the back. You're also stretching, or when you're pushing the chest forward, you're stretching a little bit of the chest, and you're activating the forearms and the triceps, trying to pull that mat apart, as well as activating the shoulder blades. Because what you're really doing is you're bringing the shoulder blades together behind you, like you're trying to hold a pencil between them, which is opening the arms. It's a really good way to reverse any forward lean. Even if you're at a desk all day, this is really good for that. Another exercise we can do is we're going to come down and bring the hands underneath the shoulders, just like that, and take a gaze forward, and you're just going to press up just a little bit to come into baby cobra, which is activating the triceps. Just going to breathe here. One more breath. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, lower down. Keeping the hands underneath the shoulders, we're going to come into tall cobra, which if your injury allows for this is a good stretch. Check with your doctor beforehand. You're going to take a deep breath in, and then you're going to exhale. You're going to press down through the hands, straighten the arms. And now you're going to feel a little bit more of a tricep activation here, as well as maybe something in the some tightness in the shoulders. But you're still going to try to push the chest through the pillars of the arms. Come down if you need to, and then just come down. The other thing that we can do down here to work the lower back is swimmer's arms. And these are real simple. You're just going to bring the arms out in front, bring the chest down or the chin down to the mat, and you're just going to inhale, bring the right hand up off the floor. You're going to feel some activation in the top of your pecs. You're going to feel some activation along the muscles in the upper back, and maybe even some in the lats. And then exhale, bring the hand down.
Can't do it.
No? All right. See, and this is where your blocks come in, right? So this can be a strengthening exercise, or it can be a passive stretch. So what you're going to have your assistant do is you're going to have them just place the blocks underneath the hands, elevating the hands to about shoulder height. If you have a little bit more range of motion, we can go a little bit higher than that. Mm-hmm. However, with as jacked as you are, I think we'll just stay right here on the low setting and just let this sit, right? Don't fight against it. Relax and breathe.
Mm-hmm. So as you guys noticed, I attempted to do the exercise, but because of the lack of core strength that I have, I was not able to do that. Depending on your level of injury and where you are, how strong you are, you might have the same affect myself or not. But for me, this is definitely a better alternative to doing that exercise. So.
And we'll start off by doing one hand at a time. And I'll lift this hand off here, and we'll do the same with this hand.
But what's important too also, I want you to notice is to make sure that you are very vocal about your limitations and what you can and cannot do. Don't put yourself into a situation where you're gonna hurt yourself or do something that's uncomfortable to your body. Make sure you're very vocal and that you are truly comfortable with everything that you're doing, even if it's new. Make sure you inform the person if you're hurt or if something's bothering you.
Yes, exactly. Communication is very key in this because you're relying on somebody else to help you with these stretches. And you want to make sure it's somebody that you trust, somebody you know pretty well. All right, how are you feeling with that arm? You ready to come down?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to let Kenny relax for a little bit. And then we're going to do both hands if you're feeling up to it.
Yep.
All right.
I'm here. On one.
When you're ready, bud.
Yep.
Okay. So, yep, go ahead, take that block first, and then I'm going to put your other hand on this block.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And lift yourself up off. There you go. Now what's going on here is now Kenny is activating shoulders. He's activating a little bit of his tricep. He's activating the muscles in his back. And what he's doing is he's pushing himself up. So when we're coming through here, the range of motion this way by moving the wheels, we want to stretch the arms up above to provide a deeper stretch to reverse the all-day action of here. Come down when you're ready. Good. While we're on the belly, we can also use the bolster to do the same thing. This is going to provide a little bit more stability because it's bigger. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a little softer on your hands. Okay. So when you're ready, you can just put your hands out and stretch.
Pull it towards me?
Yep, you can pull it towards you. Yep. And again, activating the upper back, activating some of the triceps, activating a little bit of the shoulders, not too much. But this is easier to move the bolster towards your body. Mm-hmm. And if you really wanted to get a workout with this, you could push the bolster away and then pull it back towards you. And get some upper back workout there. Almost like blanket slides. Good.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Or you can use it like a pillow if that's what you want. All right, one of the other things I want to demonstrate is how we can use the bolster to open the muscles in the lower back.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
So what you're going to do is you're going to take the bolster just like this. You're going to place it underneath the belly.
Okay.
All right? So whatever way is going to work best for you, so we can do that.
You tell me.
I don't I don't know, do you want to roll over?
Side roll?
Yeah, side roll will probably be beneficial.
Yep.
And then I'll get the bolster set. And then you can come onto the bolster any way that you'd like. There we go. You got it?
Yep.
Gotcha. And just roll over. Even if you're on the edge, you can adjust. There you go.
You got. Am I good on the bottom?
Yeah, you're good on the bottom. Perfect. Right where I want you. Mm-hmm. So in between the hips and the lower part of the rib cage. And you can see. Yep.
Am I going up?
No, just stay down. Just stay down. Yep, there you go. And we're doing a passive stretch here. You can see that his hips are elevated a little bit slightly above his shoulders, which is putting a little bit of a back bend in the lower spine, as well as the lower back muscles here. And this is another passive stretch. You don't have to do anything. Because the bolster is nice and soft, you can stay in this pose for a little bit longer than you normally would. With, say, the blocks, I wouldn't suggest using the blocks for this pose. I would stick with the bolster. It's going to be more comfortable and it's going to cause less pressure points. How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. And then just come off. You can do a side roll.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. We can use the bolster to help with elevating the feet and providing a longer point of stability to place the feet onto. And this is going to help with the hip flexors and the hip extenders too. And your assistant is just going to do the same thing we did when we were on the belly. You're going to gently lift one leg at a time. You can put the feet up on top and just let them relax. Then in a little bit, we'll move down. And I'm going to put the bolster underneath the knees and then put blocks underneath the feet. We'll just let this passive stretch happen for now. Again, we're reversing blood flow, helping to alleviate some edema. And Kenny, when you're feeling good, you let me know.
Ready?
You ready? Okay. So I'm going to use the cork blocks for this, to place underneath the feet because they're a little bit more sturdy than the foam blocks. And again, we want to make sure that we're being mindful of injuries. We're not going to force anything. So you see, I'm slowly moving the bolster as I support the knee. We're going to do that on both sides. I'm going to bring this knee down a little bit. I'm going to support this knee. Bring the bolster closer to the shins. And we're just going to keep working in this manner until I've got both knees on top of the bolster.
Good stretch.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, almost there. I'm just going to take the blocks on their medium height. I'm going to place the tops of the feet on them. And again, it's just a passive stretch. We're reversing that L shape from sitting in the chair. Reversing blood flow, as well as stretching the hip flexors in the front.
The back of the knee.
Back of the knee. Because the knee is being supported, it's allowing for the knee to be stretched, it's allowing for the hamstring to be stretched, as well as the calves. And you let me know when you're good, bud. You can stay here as long as you want.
Yeah, I'll do 20 more seconds.
20 more seconds?
Yeah.
Right.
This feels good.
Yeah. You notice kind of stretching out, you can do this as well. Really elongate the spine as much as you can.
Good.
Okay, and then we'll work in reverse. We'll move the blocks first, and then gently slide the bolster out, bring the knees down first, and then slowly working the bolster out from underneath the legs. And there you go.
Perfect.
Another thing that we can use the bolster and the blocks together for is to provide a stretch in the upper back and the upper shoulders. So what I'm going to have Kenny do is I'm going to have him roll over onto the bolster, so the bolster is in the middle of his body, sternum right on top. I'm going to place the cork blocks on either side to provide stability like we did before. And then using the foam blocks, we're going to raise the hands up. Okay?
All right, sounds good.
So you're already going to be elevated, so I'm going to put the foam blocks on either the medium height or the tall height, depending on what's comfortable for you.
All right, sounds
Okay?
good.
So go ahead when you're ready. There. Yep. Now the bolster is going to be right here, at the very top of the chest, all the way down to right here, supporting the top of his thighs. I'm going to have you lift your head and put a block right here. You can either put your chin or your forehead on it, whatever's comfortable for you.
Okay.
The foam blocks, we're just going to put here as precautionary, or the cork blocks along the sides, right by the hips. And then I'm just going to take the foam block and start one arm at a time. Have you bring your hand and up. If this isn't enough of a stretch, we can go to the higher setting.
I think this is good. Let me see the higher one.
Okay.
No, it's better.
That's better?
Yep.
Okay. And now this is another passive stretch that's being supported. We're stretching along the upper back, along the lats, a little bit of the shoulder, but more importantly, we're elevating that arm past the natural movement point. Because again, coming from here, we want to reverse that, and we want to bring the arm up without aggravating or stressing anything out. Let me know when you're good, and I'll remove the block, and we'll do the other hand.
Good.
High setting for that one too?
Yep.
All right.
You could start both though. You could do 10 seconds like that and then 10 for the other.
Okay. We'll start off that way. And good, because that brings up a good point. So we want to progress based on what we're comfortable with, right? So starting off on the lower side and then slowly working your way up to the higher block will create less stress and will ensure that you're more likely to do these exercises. All right, I'm going to flip it on its medium height now. If you'll cooperate with me. Oop, there we go. Again, this is only a little bit higher than we had on the smaller setting. But you can already see we got some muscle twitching in here as he's trying to create stability and as his back is stretching out.
Good.
All right. And now in the high setting, again, stretching the back, reversing the forward motion of the arms. And we're doing it passively. We're not aggravating things. We're letting gravity and just the props themselves do the work for us. And you ready?
Yep.
All right. And with just a couple of simple tools, you can change your workout, you can change your mobility, and you can change your quality of life.
Alright. What do you guys think of the yoga equipment, the yoga class with the yoga equipment with the yoga and blocks?
So for me, automatically right away, what I noticed is that this class was a lot more relaxing, a lot more restorative than the first class. The first video that we did was more exercise based, a lot more a lot more energy required for myself. This was more range of motion, relaxing the body, making sure that doing things properly with the use of this equipment. For me, I really enjoyed this exercise a lot more, not because I'm being lazy, but just because of the repair and how good this made my body feel. I live a very active lifestyle, and I'm not always able to get the range of motion I want by myself, and I don't really have a significant other or a caregiver to be able to help me get in some of these positions like I have today. So it's definitely great to have that second pair of hands to help you push yourself and to be able to get certain stretches in that you wouldn't normally do. I was very open about communication and explaining and telling them about things that I could not do, and it was a learning experience for both, and this is why we're here today. One, to be able to give you options on seated or adaptive yoga, and two, so that you can learn with us. This is my first time doing this. Actually my third time doing yoga overall, so what are your take on it?
For me, as assistant / instructor, it allows me to be able to give you a deeper range of motion for your stretches. Mm-hmm. It also allows me to be able to focus on you and not worry about where you're at in spatial wise, mm-hmm. because using the blocks and the bolsters gives you something to be able to use for stability and for a deeper stretch, so that way if there's anything that I notice, whether it be incorrect alignment or if you say that something is causing pain, I can immediately switch whatever we're doing and adjust it for you. Like when we're on the belly using the blocks to raise the arms, doing that initial or that progressive step up, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Allowed me to be able to make sure that I'm focusing on where you are spatially and what's going on with your muscles, whether I'm seeing any strain or I'm seeing any twitch that's outside normal, what I would consider normal parameters, and to be able to respond to you better.
Nice.